Hi, I am Shervin Sharghy. I'm the founder of Ecobricks, which is a Hong Kong-based startup with a sustainable concrete solution that we hope can substantially transform the footprint of our built environment, not just in Hong Kong, but beyond. Thanks for allowing me to present our solution here and just to, I guess, give you a background as to how we got started on this journey of sustainable concrete. It really was born out of a passion project driven by frustration. I actually grew up by the ocean in the UK, and over my many years of bodyboarding, surfing, swimming, and then also traveling around the world. I became a keen scuba diver, and I increasingly saw more and more plastic waste, regardless of where I went in the world. And the straw that really broke the camel's back, so to speak, was about 5 years ago when I was scuba diving in the Philippines in an incredibly remote location. Not only was there streams of plastic waste on the journey to the island, when I got there, this supposedly pristine and untouched environment was covered in plastic waste that had been washed up due to a local storm. And it got me to ask a very simple question, which was why? Why are we unable to find a solution to this common waste problem we have when we're able to send people into space on commercial flights now, when we have plant-based foods, when we have technological advancements of all sorts? Why is such a fundamental problem still unsolved? So really that sent me down the rabbit hole of looking into the waste problem globally. Why do we use so much plastic waste? Why do we throw away so much plastic waste, and why is so much of it untreated? So we sought to develop this in Hong Kong. It was a very good test bed for this kind of innovation because Hong Kong produces a lot of plastic waste. It has very limited landfill and it has very limited recycling capacity. And on the other hand, it is always building. So the demand for concrete is huge. And actually, concrete is one of the major contributors in terms of carbon emissions globally. So to be able to turn waste into a solution that reduces the carbon footprint of our built environment was something that we thought could be hugely impactful, not just in Hong Kong, not just in Asia Pacific, but globally. So I will just share my screen now to give a summary of our solution and why it has quite meaningful value in terms of both a waste solution, but also a building material solution as well. So what is the Ecobricks solution? It is concrete. It looks like concrete. It feels like concrete. It performs like concrete. What it does better than concrete is actually use locally produced waste materials and byproducts in place of natural aggregates and natural materials that are mined and excavated or processed. So on the one hand, it reduces demand for these virgin materials. On the other hand, it utilizes local waste products and local waste plastic. It's an entirely circular economy solution, which means we use only local waste, we manufacture locally, and we only use the products for local building projects. As many people know, manufacturing Hong Kong is very challenging, but that's where we actually believe that the major impact and benefit can be materialized, because if we offer this circular solution, we're able to offer maximum impact of our product, and we're also able to provide transparency and verified impact data to the end customer. We are able to recycle all 7 types of plastic waste, which, as far as we're aware, is a unique proposition in Hong Kong, because many types of plastic waste are difficult to recycle. They're often economically difficult to recycle because the cost of processing can be higher than the price of the end product, or because of advancements in plastics, they are difficult to separate. Where traditional recycling requires single type plastics, we don't. We can utilize mixed plastics and composite plastics, which the recycling industry actually cannot process at the moment. The product itself has been tested and certified to Hong Kong's general specifications for civil engineering works, which means that they are tested for all of the same characteristics as conventional concrete. And we've actually achieved grade A classification within those certification categories, which means our bricks are best in class when it comes to their physical qualities. There's been a lot of innovation in PropTech in terms of improving sustainability and reducing carbon footprints. A lot of those have been focused on operational carbon emissions, such as lighting, heating, and energy utilizations of buildings. There has been limited innovation when it comes to what we actually build those buildings with, the materials that are utilized and the ingredients that go into those materials themselves. It's a much more complex challenge, and it's one that we've attacked head on because we believe that's where the biggest gap there it exists in terms of achieving true net zero emissions within the industry. Because of our focus on reutilizing local materials, our bricks and our products have a lower carbon footprint than conventional concrete. We've recently completed a life cycle analysis with City University in Hong Kong, and we can reduce the carbon footprint of concrete by up to 32% compared to the conventional equivalent products. So that offers substantial scope for the building industry to reduce the embodied carbon of new buildings that are going up around us all the time. The recycling process itself is a 100% cold process, which means we do not heat the plastic, we do not melt the plastic, and we do not chemically treat the plastic. So that means there are actually no emissions or pollutants from our manufacturing process. So not only is the end product itself sustainable and low carbon footprint, the entire manufacturing process itself is. And we can also recycle the Ecobricks themselves. So when it comes to the circular proposition, we're able to take the end-of-life bricks and recycle those into new Ecobricks, hopefully in 10 or 20 years' time when they've come to the end of their useful life. So we can literally take the same plastic and recycle it again and again and again over many, many years and decades. The 7 types of plastics, as I referred to earlier, are outlined here. The most commonly recycled one is PET, which you often find in drinks bottles, single-use drinks bottles. There's a high demand for those, but as you look across the different types of plastics, especially mixed plastics and composite plastics, very few, if any of them, can actually be recycled at the moment. So that's where we focus our proposition. It's not for plastics that already get recycled. We actually focus on the problem plastics and the hard to recycle plastics. And that's where we believe we can make an impact. In terms of the quantity of plastic that we can put into our concrete bricks, just one football field of concrete paving can upcycle 143,000 kilograms of plastic waste. And this is plastic waste that would otherwise have gone to landfill or incineration or into the natural environment. So it's a very powerful last line of defense for a lot of plastic waste that frankly is unwanted or unrecyclable. This chart here outlines the scale of the plastic waste problem. It's a very difficult one to attack and solve because there are so many different types of plastic, but very limited recycling solutions for these various types of plastic. So in Hong Kong, only 11% of plastic waste that's collected is recycled, which means 89% of it goes to landfill. And that's where we see our solution being able to make a significant impact. In terms of demand for the product itself, it's set to increase substantially. So in just 10 years from 2020 to 2030, it will increase over 32% in terms of the size of the construction market. And that's really driven by Asia Pacific. So in terms of the appetite for building materials and hence the raw materials that go into those, Asia Pacific will be the driver for it. So if we're able to recycle and reutilize the plastic waste burden that we have across Asia into the building materials to satisfy its demand, it will make a huge step towards making the construction industry truly net zero and much less impactful in terms of the harm it causes to the natural environment. This is actually our first project we completed in Hong Kong. It is the Gold Coast development in Tuen Mun, and we utilize our paving for the waterfront promenade, and we upcycled 3.3 tons of plastic in that, which came from old dismantled washing machines from Hong Kong's e-waste recycling facility. We've completed other projects in Olympian City, where we've completed several parts of the renovation of the outdoor paving areas. So 2.6 tons of plastic were upcycled in this phase, another 12 tons in this second phase. So once you start adding up those figures, it makes a substantial impact to the diversion of plastic waste from Hong Kong's landfills. So I will sign off there, and if there are any further questions, by all means, please feel free to reach out via the email address shared on screen. And we hope that we can continue to divert as much plastic waste from Hong Kong's landfills and offer the building industry truly validated lower carbon building products that can help minimize the impact on the natural environment.